All right, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to Fantasy Football Live with the Fantasy Sports Boss, guys. Sorry it took me a little longer to get on tonight. Just family stuff crops up from time to time, and you got to take care of it. I got two young kids, so things happen. But I'm here now, getting ready for the Monday Night Football game between the New England Patriots and the Arizona Cardinals, which will decide a lot of fates when it comes to the fantasy football playoffs. If you made your league's playoff tournament and whatnot. Playoffs start next week in many leagues, as they should. I don't believe in the 4-team playoff format. I'm always a big fan of the team, or even bigger. I don't mind 8 teams as well, but makes it a little bit more exciting. Now, before I get any further, hit the subscribe, hit the notification button as well. Like I said, came on a little bit later today. Had some stuff that came up, and family duties. But I'm here now, and ready to go over the news of the day. And the biggest news of the day, of course, is Deebo Samuel, who's been diagnosed now with an MCL issue in his MCL sprain and ankle sprain, not the high ankle sprain, which is good. And the current chatter, if you will, around San Francisco is that Deebo Samuel will return at some point this season, this regular season. So in terms of fantasy football, though, you need Deebo Samuel to return, at some point in the next 3 weeks if you're an owner. But, again, this is the deal when you bring Deebo Samuel onto your fantasy team, is that the guy gets hurt every year. Last season he managed to play, a full season, I believe. I don't think he missed any games last season. But going back to college, he always was nicked up. He's always injured. Something always popped up with Deebo Samuel. And, now you have this MCL issue that's going to keep him out certainly this week, probably next week. You're looking at a fantasy football championship possible return for Deebo, best case scenario. Also, they did get good news on Brock Purdy. He's day-to-day with an oblique strain. So Brock Purdy, who absolutely balled out, threw 2 touchdown passes, ran for another. Just an unbelievable game. And here's a great story. So Brock Purdy's parents, they did not buy any tickets to a 49ers game at the start of the season, because they figured, you know what, our son's third on the depth chart. He's never going to play. You have Trey Lance there. You have Jimmy Garoppolo there. We're not going to buy any tickets to San Francisco home games, with the exception of one game. And I'll give you 2 guesses what the game was. The Tom Brady game yesterday. They bought tickets at the beginning of the season because they wanted to see Tom Brady. They were fans of Brady, Purdy's parents. They wanted to see him, coming back to his hometown area. And it just so happens, of course, that was the game that Brock Purdy starts. He throws 2 touchdowns. He runs for another. Mr. Irrelevant, totally helped annihilate the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There would have been 50 if they didn't call off the dogs. Just a great story there, for sure. NFL fantasy, Trevor Lawrence or Geno Smith. Rest of season, I say Trevor Lawrence. He's got the schedule's, he plays the Jets. That's a tough one, but the schedule's not bad. The problem I have with Geno Smith, and he did throw 3 touchdowns through 2 interceptions. The problem with Geno Smith right now is they have no run game. Pete Carroll's not utilizing the running game. Kenneth Walker, who was listed as limited today just because they had to put out an injury list since they're playing on Thursday Night Football. I think he's 50-50 at best to play this week. Listen, San Francisco, this is a legit team. So Geno Smith thrives when he has a running game. If he does not have a running game, he's asked to throw 40 times a game. That's when the trouble starts. And we saw that yesterday with the 2 interceptions. It exposes Geno Smith. That's the problem. Thanks for your Chark advice. It got me a win. Yes, DJ Chark. I forgot about that, Polumsky. You're right. I did that separate video on DJ Chark. I had a good week recommending players. Okonkwo, the tight end. I did a video on him. Chark, that was a good one, as Polumsky reminded me of. I was proud of that one. And Russell freaking Wilson, 31 fantasy points. I owned him. I needed to win to get in. I picked him up off waivers because I had no Justin Fields, no Lamar Jackson, and he fucking showed up and puts up 31 points. Scary situation when he got hit, though. That was a rough one for sure. He was completely out before that 31 fantasy points. That was great. George Cook. Boss, you got to save me. You're going to be out Higgins, Walker. I'm glad you brought up Higgins. I got to talk about that one. Walker and Pierce next week, potentially. How fucked am I that I'm having to start Evans? Jamal and Darius Slayton. Only waiver option is Gus the Bus. Evans, it's a problem right now with Evans and that entire passing offense. Darius Slayton, nothing is working for the Giants. Jamal, you talking about Jamal Williams? Yeah, that's a rough one. Gus Bus, I wouldn't use him because J.K. Dobbins looked really good. He got 15 carries. He ran, with explosion, with speed. So I don't think Gus Bus is going to be anything but a mini bus this week. With Trubisky under center, should I be ditching Steelers D for Carolina D? You know what? Carolina D's been playing really well, so that's not the worst move to make. Now, I'm glad you brought up T. Higgins because T. Higgins cost me in my other league the number 1 overall seed. Now, the top 2 seeds got the bye, so, I still wound up getting the bye, but that was some sort of bullshit what went on with T. Higgins. So after he was declared active, he re-injured or tweaked his hamstring in warmups. He wanted to play. They held him out, and he gave a complete goose egg. Week 14, clinching week of the fantasy football season, and this guy didn't even play. Like, I can't even imagine what. And there's many people out there, I saw the tweets, that had season end yesterday because T. Higgins didn't even play a snap. I mean, did he even get out there for one snap? I wasn't watching that game, but all I know is he got the donut, and that was just horrific. That was horrible. Audio's cutting in and out. Oh, I'm sorry if it's cutting in and out, guys. I didn't, I've been in the same area the last couple of days, and I haven't had any issues so far. So let me know if that happens again, and I can bring it into another room. Am I crazy to want to start Dobbins versus Browns over Saquon versus No, you're not. And the reason why is because Saquon's got a neck injury, and the Browns are a funnel on the ground. So Dobbins looked good. And listen, Dobbins has the speed. He's got the explosion. He's got the acceleration. He's the ability is there. He just 2 things: doesn't catch the football, and he doesn't stay healthy. Saquon is not healthy. The long season has derailed his health. It's derailed his explosion. He just doesn't have anything right now. So that's the problem. And it's not a bad move because Cleveland doesn't stop anybody on the run game. To his hard performance may have single-handedly cost me a spot in the playoffs. I needed 30 points tonight now, and they have Ramondre Stevenson and Hollywood Brown left. Yeah, that's not looking too good, Eldot. I think Higgins played 2 snaps. Yeah, I think he did. He wound up getting like a snap or 2, but it was bad. Hey, boss, great call on DJ Chark. All right, second guy coming in about DJ Chark. Palumsky was first, and Grind Don't Stop is the second one. So I'm really glad that worked out for you guys. Yeah, the T. Higgins thing was brutal. There's no doubt about that. What was I going to say? Something else I wanted to talk about. Oh, okay. What was the second question? Judy over Waddle? No. Yes, I wouldn't go Judy over Waddle because Russell Wilson's not going to play this week. It's going to be Brett Rippon, and you don't want any part of that. That's for sure. So yeah, don't do that. Now, as far as Tua Tagovailoa, I don't know what the hell happened. He's been money all year. The last 2 weeks he's been bad. Horrible accuracy yesterday. He still has Tyreek Hill. He still has Jalen Waddle. So I don't understand what the deal is. I really don't. It's been a struggle. He's an MVP candidate for sure. It's beyond me what's going on with him, and it's coming at the worst time for sure. Week 16 need 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver, and 1 flex. Saquon versus Vikings, JT versus Chargers. Definitely JT versus Chargers because the Chargers don't stop anybody. And Ramondre versus Cincy. Dobbins at Atlanta. Pickens. I like Ramondre and JT for sure. 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. No Zay Jones, not against the Jets. No Jamo. I would go Thielen. And then the flex, I would do Dobbins. Metcalf or Kirk? Metcalf, 100%. He scores every game. Just go back and guy. If you're having audio issues, let me know. I could always go into another room. This room has been working pretty good the last couple of days, so I haven't heard any audio problems. But if that is happening, let me know. What about the snow for the Bills-Dolphins game? Too early in the week to think about that. The weather changes quickly, Jeff. So we'll get to that as we get later on into the week. What's up, boss? What the F is good with Cincy news reporting going to sneak into 6 seed unless cards get? Yeah, I don't know, Kevin. I don't have any answers on that whole situation. Should I hold on to Patriots defense or stream elsewhere? They've been pretty shaky. The problem with the Patriots defense is that the offense puts them in really bad spots. St. Brown or Metcalf? Metcalf, again, same reason I said before, because he scores touchdowns. And St. Brown, as great as he is catching passes, it's not always consistent in the touchdown department. Hey, bro, good to hear from you. Oh, hey, Deathlord, how are you? All right. Brian Pereira wanted to take time to say F you to Evan Engram for nearly screwing me over. Still got the W. Oh, my God. How about that game? Jesus. What did he have? Like 11 catches, 100-plus yards, and 2 scores? Now, as a Giant fan, there were glimpses of that kind of ability for Engram. He can't block a lick, but he's fast. He's got good hands. I mean, he's just going to stay healthy in New York, and he just needed a fresh start, and he's getting it. And I said earlier today with the Trevor Lawrence video, the guy is absolutely for real. He's a top 10 fantasy quarterback next season, top 12 certainly. And you know what? If you choose to bypass the dual threat guys and you go value again on quarterback, Trevor Lawrence would be at the very top of my list if you're going to wait a little bit to draft your quarterback next season. Can I get vintage Alvin off the bye these last 3 weeks? No, you're not going to get anything from Alvin. And remember, guys, at the end of the season, there's a lot of trends that came about this season when it comes to running backs. We're going to talk about that. I'm also going to put it in this year's draft guide for sure. Finished the regular season 10-4 record in one league, 11-3 in the other. Yeah, I mean, Deathlord, sounds like he had a good season. I finished 10-4 in one league with the first round bye, and then 8-6 in the other. So not too bad. I don't think I should start St. Brown over DK because Seahawks have Lockett. No, because every week both Lockett and Metcalf do great. They have a very limited target tree in Seattle. It's really just those two guys and nothing else. So that's why they both are good every week. Mark Andrews is a disaster. I almost stopped watching the game yesterday, record my own crisis point video. Yeah, seriously. And that's coming tomorrow, by the way, Mark Andrews crisis point video. That's another one. I don't have any answers there. I mean, Tyler Huntley, I gave you all those stats about how great he's been with Tyler Huntley. It just didn't happen. I think physically he might be beat up. He was right there with Kelsey the first month of the season. And now it's just all gone to shit. Zach Taylor should be incarcerated for that T. Higgins bullshit second time this year. People probably lost to and that's the problem now, George. You're right. So with gambling being legal now, the NFL is going to run into this issue over and over again, like with what happened with T. Higgins. So any kind of player props. Now, I don't do daily fantasy. I never have. I don't want to personally go down that rabbit hole. I'm fine just doing what I'm doing with regular fantasy. But did they give refunds? I'm wondering if whoever, whatever it's DraftKings or whatnot, if they gave refunds for any T. Higgins props. I would imagine they would have to, because that is some sort of bullshit what happened there. And, again, when there's gambling involved now, people are going to wonder if something's going on. So that's a classic example right there, or if a guy is active and he doesn't play, the snap count, all that other stuff. So that's what makes gambling now very problematic for the league, even though they have their hand out and they want their cut of it. Four down weeks since Njoku went down. I played Engram and he did nothing. I know. Yeah, Njoku wasn't bad, Brian. You're right. But Engram, that was a hard choice. The problem is that Tennessee just doesn't stop anybody in the passing game. They're just as bad as Minnesota is. Picking up J.K. Dobbins off waivers study at 18. Yeah, Dobbins was good. And again, it's never about ability. It's about health and not catching the football. What's a better defense than the Jets to pick up? Kansas City Chiefs, even though they got destroyed by the Broncos, they have a bunch of good matchups. Dallas defense, who I've been writing all season, they've been good. Although again, that game was weird. The Texans hung with Dallas the whole game. They outplayed them throughout the game. But Dallas does that. They always play down to the level of that competition. Dallas does that, and they always wind up pulling it out. But for me, I needed that game to be competitive the whole game, and it wound up being that. Started Jared Goff over Deshaun Watson. Thank you for the advice. Yes, it was all hands on deck in that Minnesota-Detroit game. What did I tell you? Again, you always have to look at the over-under. It was the highest over-under on the board. I picked up Goff in one league, and he threw the 3 touchdowns. He was money. Kirk Cousins over 400 yards, over 200 yards. Justin Jefferson. Nobody even talked about that because they lost the game. Even Josh Reynolds, they were all balling out yesterday. It was just an obvious call. All those players needed to be played. Also picked up Titans rookie tight end. Great call. Yes, I told you to pick him up too. So I had a good week. The Titans tight end thing, that one was obvious to me because no Treylon Burks, so I won't go crazy taking credit for that one. But I'll take credit for the Russell Wilson one and the DJ Chark one. Also beautiful Pearson Watson versus Rams, Mike Evans since Chark versus need two wide receivers. Christian Watson, definitely. You have to play Christian Watson 100%. And then I would go Mike Evans because Chark against the Jets. Look what just happened to Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. They were completely dominated by Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed to the point that Josh Allen was so frustrated he was throwing the ball all over the place just trying to make a play. The Jets defense is legit. I know they lost Keenan Williams to a calf injury, but those two cornerbacks, Sauce is the best. I'm already saying right now he is the best cover corner in the NFL, hands down. Second coming of Darrelle Revis. DJ Reed overshadowed to a point, but he is phenomenal himself. Those guys completely locked down the Buffalo receivers. Picking up JP Dobbins. Listen, Dobbins is good, Death Lord. I would pick him up if he's available. What's going on, DeAndre Swift? Yeah, it was one good game, and now it's a step back. Jamal Williams wasn't good either. It was really a passing game. Is DeAndre Swift just simply not as good as we thought he was? I think he is very skilled, but he just physically can't handle the grind of an NFL game in terms of getting a lot of touches. Mike Evans a starter anymore? I don't know. I think he's getting really old in front of our eyes. Here's the thing with Mike Evans. I don't think he missed a single game in his entire NFL career, not through suspension. I know he got suspended earlier this season. If he did miss any time in his NFL career, maybe 1 or 2 games, he's been durable. He plays through injuries. But a lot of times what you see when guys constantly play through injuries, they have an early decline phase of their career because of all those nicks and bruises that pile up. Evans is 30, which is the trouble age for a receiver. Right? 26, 27 for running back, really 27, 28 for running back, 30 for receivers when the trouble starts. Is Evans a starter anymore? I don't know. I don't know if Tom Brady can consistently get the ball deep to him anymore. Chris Godwin is fine. And by the way, anybody saw that hit that Chris Godwin took? I can't believe he's still alive today. That was a crazy hit over the middle that he took in the second half of that game. He got right up and he finished. He wasn't even pulled out of the game. And that's why this concussion thing is a bunch of bullcrap, because if anybody should have been pulled out of a game just to be looked at, it was Chris Godwin yesterday. That hit was scary. Pacheco free agent pickup. He went 100 yards and 2 TDs. Yeah. Jerick McKinnon was insane yesterday. I don't know. Is that who you're talking about? McKinnon had like 30-something fantasy points. And Isaiah Pacheco, now that he's gotten the starting job and see you later, CEH, you're not going to be back with the Chiefs next season. Pacheco's been good. Another week where I'm confused with Jamal Williams. Seems extremely TD reliant. Didn't play. Yeah, he is TD reliant. He doesn't catch a lot of passes, Brian. He's been good, though. He converts around the goal line. You have to play him as a flex no matter what. He's a serial holder. I guess if he's a serial holder, he's getting away with it. So he's good, but he's not the best cover corner league. I would go Patrick Surtain. I disagree, Death Lord. Look at the guys. Look at all the matchups, whether it's Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs twice. He's dominated Justin Jefferson. He's pretty much dominated everybody he's played, all the top guys. Thoughts on T.Y. signing with the Cowboys? Non-story. They have James Washington, who they just brought back. They have Noah Brown. I'm not sure what that was about. I really don't. And how about CeeDee Lamb, giving the dap to whoever laid him out in that game? Luckily, he got up too. Can Donovan Peoples-Jones be trusted against the Ravens as a flex? It wasn't a mirage. Amari Cooper still beat up. Peoples-Jones has had a quietly really good season. He's putting up numbers on a weekly basis. I'm very curious about him for next season because I think he can be that deep threat for Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun Watson, I think, will be fine next season now that he has a full offseason to prepare. Mike Williams, A.G. Brown, Amari Cooper, running backs, Mixon, White, and Robinson. Got to pick a running back with Mixon, wide receiver Brown, and then flex. Oh, pick a running back with Mixon. I gotta go Robinson because he's been hot and he's getting the majority of the carries. Wide receiver with AJ Brown. Mike Williams, definitely. And I would flex Rachaad White because he's been in double digits pretty much every week. Stevenson would be one of my top. Yes, I am all over Rhamondre Stevenson. He's not going to be a first-round pick next year, guys. So buying opportunity, I'm going to take my receiver in the first round, and then I'm going to take Rhamondre Stevenson in the second round if he falls to me. 100%. Even Robinson, the Redskins back, really high on him as well, and he's the perfect age. I'm going to go. Thanks for you guys. Okay, you're welcome, NFL Fantasy. And even Travis Etienne next season. Now he's, in the middle of the season, look, he was going to be a first-round pick next year. He's going to drop to the second round, maybe even the third because it's been so bad. I would go back in on him too because I think he'll be okay, nice and fresh next season. So I was going to couldn't dominate Davante Adams though if they played. No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. He's dominated pretty much everybody else. Kenneth Walker injured. Would you go J.K. Dobbins or Pacheco is running back 2, half PPR? If Walker plays, do you go him? No, I wouldn't play Walker because I don't think he's going to get a full allotment of snaps. I think he's seriously beat up. Dobbins or Pacheco, that's a tough one. I would go Pacheco just because he's got better health, and I think he's the better bet to score a touchdown. Because also, Ravens are probably going to be possibly trotting out their third-string quarterback. So, Huntley's in concussion protocol. Lamar Jackson's not playing. That's big trouble for anybody on the Baltimore offense. So, Mark Andrews owners, I hate to say it, might be another rough week. Where'd you rank Stingley Jr. in this year's rookie class? I'm not. You know what? He's been okay. It's hard because that team is so bad. But he's very highly rated coming out of college. Battled a lot of injuries. The injuries were the problem with him. But I think the Texans got themselves a good player. Should Tony Pollard be taken in top 3 rounds? 100%. Tony Pollard, depending where he ends up, because he's a free agent, he might be franchise tagged. I think he will get franchise tagged. I think the Cowboys can get out from Ezekiel Elliott's contract. I think they're going to let him go. You're welcome, Yo. And I think that Tony Pollard, if he's franchise tagged or brought back up by Dallas to be the starter, he is a early second-round pick. 100%. I own Tony Pollard. It was the best trade I made all season. I got Tony Pollard in the one league that I was struggling to make the playoffs. He brought it home for me the second half of the season. Had thoughts of dropping ETN. I wouldn't do that because you really kick yourself if somebody picks him up and he goes crazy next week, which is entirely possible. He has the talent. I think he's just tired. Zay Jones has been pretty good lately, but would you trust him against the Cowboys as a potential flex since their secondary is banged up? I would play Zay Jones. It's going to be a high-scoring game, a lot of passing, aerial show. Get Zay Jones in there. And that was another thing that I was happy that I said was I told you all to temper expectations on Christian Kirk because the Titans defend the slot receivers really well compared to the outside guys, which they get singed on every week. So I said Zay Jones would be the one. Out of him and Christian Kirk, Zay Jones would be the guy that would have the better game, and he did by far. Top defense to stream this week. I think the Chiefs have a good one this week. I thought the Chiefs had really good playoff matchups. And I know next week Baltimore plays Atlanta with Desmond Ridder at quarterback, so that's one you got to think about too. Flex Hubbard this week. Yeah, listen, Joe, they've become very run-heavy. Hubbard's been good. Foreman's been good. Steve Wilkes, he's got this team playing hard. They're kind of just letting Darnold do just enough not to blow the game. So, I think he's a flex. Tony Pollard's most explosive running back in the NFL history. Prove me. NFL history? No. No. That's a little rich. I know you like to be a little extreme, Death Lord, but I can't even go anywhere near that one. Chargers a sneaky defense for the playoffs. They got Colts, Rams, Broncos. Yep, I could see it. But, they've been pretty bad, though. So, on paper, it's a good matchup, but they simply haven't been very good either. Last question, is T.Y. Hilton worth a pickup? No, he's going to be behind, Noah Brown, James Washington, Michael Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb, and Dalton Schultz. So, he is not worth a pickup. Thoughts on Carson Wentz backing up Taylor Heineke? It's the right move. Carson Wentz sucks. And the thing, too, with Carson Wentz that people don't understand is that they look at the numbers. Like last season, the numbers on paper were good, but he is a locker room disruptor. All right. He has a little bit of a, prima donna attitude. You can't criticize me. And that is a very bad message to send as the quarterback. The quarterback should be the first one to stand up and take the blame when things go wrong, to take whatever the criticism the coach gives him, Look at the difference between Daniel Jones and Zach Wilson. Daniel Jones every week stands up and takes the heat from the media, the same New York media, and Zach Wilson made excuses and now he's benched. Carson Wentz really helped get Doug Peterson fired in Philadelphia because he was so thin-skinned he couldn't take coaching and any kind of criticism, and he really got him fired. And that really caused his reputation to be sullied. And I think last season in Indy, he complained again. And now in Washington, he's run out of chances, in my opinion. He could be a good backup if he's willing to accept that. But I just don't like the guy personally. I think he's just a complete baby. And, he's just a little too full of himself, if you ask me. Listen, if you're a player in the NFL, you need to be able to take criticism. I'm sorry. And if you can't, then go do something else. All right. Would you roll of Geno this week with a tough matchup? Tough to say, Joe. I don't think so. Look what they did to Tom Brady. I wouldn't. That's trouble. I haven't really looked at the game too much, but Geno Smith coming off a 2-interception game, no running game. That's a bad recipe for him against the San Francisco defense. And listen, guys, I've said it over and over and over again. I love this San Francisco team. I think they could win the Super Bowl. Now, without Jimmy Garoppolo, it's going to be tough. But this team along the lines, offensive and defensive, is just dominant. And with a healthy Debo, and I know he's not healthy right now, you can't find a better set of skilled players with Samuel, with Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey. Good luck finding a foursome that's better than that four, because I don't see it. I mean, they are scary good. It's a shame with the injuries. And Jerry Rice got up today and basically pleaded with Kyle Shanahan to stop running the offense the way he's running it, in terms of having these guys constantly running between the tackles, whether it was Trey Lance, Debo Samuel, giving him handoffs because of the injuries. Lance got hurt. We have, Debo Samuel now getting injured. And there's been a lot of injuries in San Francisco, and it's really a shame because I think this team could have won the Super Bowl, yes, even with Jimmy Garoppolo, because they had the Chiefs on the ropes. All Garoppolo had to do was make that one throw late in the game, which he didn't make, and then it opened up the floodgates and they lost. This is a scary team. Even with Brock Purdy, they can beat the Minnesota Vikings 100%. Philadelphia Eagles, that's going to be a tough chore. Without Jimmy G, even with Jimmy G, it's going to be tough because Philadelphia is just playing out of their minds right now. Jalen Hurts, I think, is the MVP in my opinion. I think he's passed everybody else now. He has grown. And to think that there was ever any doubt about him as a passer, and certainly I had questions about it. Most people did coming into the season. I'll give Matthew Berry credit. He was Jalen Hurts was his ride or die this season, and it's been tremendous. Jerry Jones, I wouldn't say Jerry Jones is ruining his career, but Jerry Jones is looking at how much money he's paying Ezekiel Elliott, and that's why Elliott's getting as much work as he's getting. But Elliott, in his defense, has been pretty solid. He's been converting. He's been money around the red zone. So, it's sort of working. And Pollard's not the biggest back either, so you got to just be careful with how many carries he gets. Mike Williams did look great last night. That first catch he made along the sidelines was just crazy. He's as athletic and a talented receiver as there is in football. He just doesn't have consistency week to week. I would take Tony Pollard over McCaffrey in all formats. Next season, McCaffrey's going to be, I think, 27 or 28, so he is getting up there. It's definitely the danger zone for McCaffrey. And here's the thing, too. To expect Christian McCaffrey to remain completely healthy next season, 2 seasons in a row, I don't want anything to do with McCaffrey next season. Would you bench Kenneth Walker? And I'm very disciplined about that. When a running back hits the age of 27, I'm out. It's simple. I mean, either we see this season, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, Alvin Kamara have all turned 27, and they all take out the 1 5-touchdown game for Mixon. They've all been bad. Would you bench Kenneth Walker against San Francisco? Yes. And he was limited today, LDOT, and limited is not really a good thing. I would absolutely bench him. Any news on Pierce? And there's a high incidence of re-injury. Any news on Pierce and Higgins? Pierce is supposedly it's up in the air about this week, at least so far. Haven't heard anything on Higgins. Thoughts on Cowboys signing Hilton? Non-story on Hilton. Would you roll with Desmond Ridder? Not a chance, Joe. Not a chance. He's Marcus Mariota reincarnated, just with less experience and probably will make more mistakes. Kicking myself for not playing Mike Williams last night. Just to say, yeah, I mean, listen, what happened last time was frustrating, LDOT, but he was really, really good. Jeff Wilson, yes, the worst was avoided with Jeff Wilson. He's considered day-to-day. He'll be ready to go probably this week. But it's been a rough couple of weeks for him, for sure. Dalvin Cook was awful despite the rushing T. Yeah, he was so bad. And again, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, 27 years old, all three of them. The long season, you see all three of them are just gasping for air right now. Their production's way down. This is a clear trend. Next season, you have to be out on the 27 and older running backs. You just have to. And he knows on Tyreek Hill. Yes, Tyreek Hill's going to be fine. Him too. He's just bruised and battered. But Tyreek Hill is a baller. He's always out there playing. Whether you like his character or not, that's one thing. As far as playing football, he breaks the game better than anybody in the NFL, Tyreek Hill. He is a handful. Nobody busts a game open better than Tyreek Hill does. Can you rank 1-3 who like best PPR week 15? Jamal at the Jets, Zonovan versus Detroit, Dobbins at Cleveland. I'm going to go Zonovan, Dobbins, and Jamal. And Zonovan got even more leeway now because Michael Carter had a really bad fumble in that game against the Bills. So I think that Zonovan, who scored a touchdown against the tough Bills defense, has been great now all 3 weeks. He's the guy. What do you think of Tyreek Hill on that fumble return touchdown? Yeah, you know what? That caused some controversy in one of my leagues. So he didn't get credit for that touchdown in one of my leagues, and the owner who had Hill went nuts. But certain leagues don't allow fumble return touchdowns or fumble touchdowns, period. Like when what's his name recovered one in the Treylon Burks recovered one in the end zone a couple of weeks ago. So too bad if it's not in the settings before the season starts and you can't change it. That's tough. Can't believe I drafted Cook 15 overall this season, completely out of the aging running. Yeah. Again, write it down. 27 and older. And I think Aaron Jones is 27 next year. Saquon Barkley is 27. Now, those two guys don't have the mileage that Mixon and Cook have, and McCaffrey, who've all been bell cow backs from the very beginning. But I'm still leery about them as well. I already told you guys, Ramondre Stevenson, totally in on him, in on Robinson, the Redskins back, who I really, really like a lot. Just Dameon Pierce. I would go with Dameon Pierce for, next season as well. Even Miles Sanders, who hasn't played much. I believe he's only 25. I would go with Miles Sanders. That's the line of demarcation for me. Matt Ryan, a good streaming QB this week. Joe, don't do that to yourself. Don't do that. You can't. Don't do that to yourself. And Jonathan Taylor next season is very scary too, because here's the thing too with Jonathan Taylor. He's been beat up this year. Insane workload 2021. He had probably the most insane college workload of any running back I've seen in the last 15 years. The usage at Wisconsin was almost criminal. And it's going to cause his career to decline early like it did, Eddie George, some of those other guys who were heavily used in college. Who do you got winning tonight's game? I think it favors the Patriots. They got the better defense. Arizona, they're just awful defensively, whereas the Patriots, I know they're bad offensively, but they're going to get a boost going against that brutal Arizona passing attack. Secondary. Chiefs Broncos outcome. Oh yeah, listen, that was Pat Mahomes. I don't know what he was doing. He's slinging it all over the field. I think he just played way too loose the second half of that game. Allowed the Broncos to come right back in. It helped me because I had Russell Wilson. But Pat Mahomes should be embarrassed by his second half in that game. Jamal Williams, decent play. Jets, Carolina. No, the Jets. You avoid the Jets at all costs, ML. And I think he's getting a little tired himself. I wouldn't go crazy with Jamal Williams. What's up, boss? Unfortunately, I'm out of playoffs since my opponent decided to have Jerick McKinnon. Yes, Jerick McKinnon, unsung hero of the week. I know for me, he really helped me out. I needed a team to lose. A guy that was out of it had Jerick McKinnon. He pulled the upset. I even offered to buy the guy lunch today at work because it's my work league. I was so grateful for it. He declined, but I was pretty happy about that for sure. I've got McCaffrey, Dameon Pierce, Ken Walker, and Chubb. You're going to go McCaffrey. They got me to the playoffs using 3 every week, which is just use my flex for a wide receiver. No, I always use running backs in the flex if I can. You're going to go Chubb and McCaffrey. I know Chubb's been a little quiet, but he's due for a big one. And you know what, Dameon Pierce, if he's healthy, I would go with that. The problem with receivers are if there's bad weather, it's trouble. The quarterback's having an off game, it's trouble. Whereas a running back can do it in two different ways. I just want to see Siemens have big. Yeah, I think he'll be good tonight. We're going to wrap this up in a few minutes just to watch the game. Good luck to you in the playoffs. Yes, thank you, Rain. I appreciate that. I'm 2 for 2. I'm in the playoffs in both of my leagues. Tyreek Hill still on pace for 2,000 yards. I'm not sure. I'll check on that. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Need a QB replacement this week. Who would you recommend? You know what, Joe? Hit me up on that one in the stream tomorrow. I'll take a look at that because I haven't really, I'm still in the week 14 mode, and then I'll let you know. Okay, bud? What's your opinion on Jamal Williams rest of these weeks? I think Jamal Williams is very touchdown dependent, but this Lions offense is frail. They're playing the Jets. Not a good matchup. I would not play him this week. Like Ayuk as wide receiver 2 going forward with Debo. Yeah, I guess so. They're going to have to really tailor-made Ayuk to stop with the deep stuff and just work more short to intermediate because that's what's going to help the offense the best. All right. 2,000 yards. I'm pretty sure he would be. Yes. I'm pretty sure. All right, guys, let's wrap it up here. We got the Monday Night Football game, so I'm going to go watch that. I hope you guys make the playoffs. I'm going to do another stream tomorrow, so look for the notification. Look for all that good stuff. So enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy your night. Be well, and I will chat with all of you tomorrow. Take care, guys.